Hey, this is Chad Muncie. Just giving you some information about rec and how we run it and what to expect when you show up to work youth camp with the recreation. So we'll kind of run down through just throughout the day how it works. You're waking up right at that breakfast time. We're wanting you there, being a part of that. Usually even during breakfast, we're kind of already starting to talk about the day. We're constantly talking about what all we're going to be doing, but new things can always kind of come up, reminding what we got planned. So breakfast, we'll do that. It can be a little bit laid back those first couple sessions, because lots of times in the very start of the morning you got Bible study. That can be kind of laid back for us. During Bible study, we'll take time to prep some stuff already for field day, for the field events. And for that rec time during the field. And then we'll also take some time, if it fits. Most years we get this way. We'll take some time too to just do like a devotion time during then. The reason why we do that is because that's the main focus of camp, is what God does in the services, the transformation that can happen for these students. And everything that we do is to help create that environment that's just kind of fun, relaxful, gets them away from all the stuff that they deal with outside of youth camp, helps them break through like some intimidation, some different struggles they might be going through, helps them bond with their cabin more just through playing the games. All of it, though, is completely to get them there for the services and for what God can do in the services. So doing a Bible study ourselves helps us to keep that in mind and to remember that, because rec is hard. Rec is very, very busy. There's a lot to it, and so you want to make sure that you stay grounded in what it's really all about. So we try to take some times during that to do that. Once that section's done, you usually are going into an elective time. Sometimes with electives, the elective coordinator, if we're not coordinating it, the elective coordinator will ask rec staff to help with the games or with those different electives, either to run it or just help in it. And that's fine. We just ask that you let the rec director know that, so that way if they are planning on things that they planned on you doing during electives, that we know about that, and we know that you're already busy with something at that time. So we don't have something planned for you to do, hand it to you in at breakfast time or during that Bible study time. You're like, oh, they got me doing this, and it's like, okay. So we always want to do that. We want to make sure that there's water to drink at those stations, at those elective stations, that are outside. Any kind of sports elective station that might be outside, we definitely want water out there. That's the same for our field time, our rec games during the field, while they're out in the field later in the day. Absolutely want it there too. So we get then to about lunchtime. At lunch, there's two things that one won't feel bad, the other one you'll feel bad about. But at lunchtime, cut in line. So I know that will feel bad, feel kind of mean, cut in line. And the reason why is because we are usually eating lunch very quick and we're getting out into the field. So we got to be first in line so we can eat fast and move. And that's what's usually happening right after lunch. The field times usually fit right after lunchtime. Sometimes they're leaving straight from lunch to those. Sometimes there's a gap between them, but we've got to set up. So we cut in line, we eat together. That's the two main things at lunch. At our times, you can eat with our people and stuff. We encourage you to get out, hang out with the kids while they're waiting in line. Eat with students if you're able to. That's fine. But lunchtime, rec sits together, cuts in line, eats quick, and goes. And then you need to plan on being out in that field possibly up to 3 hours. Rec time sometimes is anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And then you got to think the prep before, the cleanup afterwards. You can easily be in the field for 3 hours. So you want to make sure you have the right kind of shoes. You want something that you can run in, that you feel comfortable in, that you can move around in, clothes-wise, shoes-wise. Sunscreen, water. We usually have a cooler of water just for rec staff, but just what you need to stay comfortable to be out in the hot sun that long. And use the restroom before you go, all those things. We want to try to minimize as much as we can of leaving the field, right? It's all hands on deck during that field time. And we also want to make sure that when students are showing up, we've got music playing, we've got our tent stuff set up. That first game is set up at least. Sometimes we don't set up other games because of the area we might be working in. So it's just whatever staging we need done is done. So during that rec time, you may be asked to run a game. If you do, we'll give you instructions on how you're going to run that game. The materials that you need, the setup for it. We're going to try to explain as much as you can. And then your rec directors will always be there for you to ask any questions you might have. Key thing in running the games. Be consistent. Be consistent in how you run it. So make sure that the rules that you follow for one group that comes through or one cabin that comes through is the same rules that you follow for all of them. Now, boys are in competition against boys. Girls are in competition against girls. So if something comes up where you feel you need to switch it, or maybe some veteran cabin leader or camper says, hey, we used to do this all the other years we've played this game. If someone says something like that to you, be like, oh man, I didn't know that, I'm sorry. But since I already started it for the other teams, I need to run it this way for your cabin also. But then if like it was a boys group that did that and you got girls coming after, you could add that element with the girls, because their points isn't going to affect the boys. Like where they place and stuff, that's not going to affect anything. But run it consistent for the ones who are competing against each other. Make sure you don't switch anything up in that sense. If something like that happens, let us know. We can figure out some way to add points for those who didn't get to use it. You know, if something breaks and we have to improvise the game, okay? If something just... I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but we've had things like that happen before where something breaks, we have to improv the game. We have to switch the game up. So that's understandable. We can work through that. Just let us know that you had to do that. All right. So others might just be helping out with games, and then there's going to be times where if we weren't able to stage everything, then we'll kind of pull them back towards the tent, all the cabins back towards the tent, explain some stuff, start explaining that next game, while some of you are setting up that next game and cleaning up. So always just be listening, be ready to move, be ready to work hard in that time. We head then into like your dinner time, which sometimes you are coming in late for dinner because we have just gotten done cleaning up in the field finally. So just be prepared for that. Realize it's long days. It's long days. Your schedule is going to be off. Whatever your normal schedule is in life, it's going to be off. It's going to be off at youth camp. So roll with it. Service. Awesome. If we can get in service, we definitely want to. When they call for altar workers, unless that leader is specific, that minister is specific, we want to be up in those altars. Outside of the cabin leaders, we've been with them, and we have developed where these students look up to us. It's kind of a natural thing, even with rec, where they just look up to them for some reason. So we want to be in those altars to pray with those students and to minister to them. And sometimes we may have to duck out of a service. Sometimes we may even miss start of the service. But whenever we can get in service, be in service. Be in service, be involved in service, and engaged in service. Right after service is fun time. So as soon as we get done with the amen at service, if we're in there, we've got to move. So at least find the rec director and see if they have anything specific for you to do. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like you're good until rec time. Just make sure you're there for rec. but always just check in and make sure you know. All right. At fun time, we'll have a couple people who's on the mic that's running the games, talking, engaging with the crowd, and the rest of you hanging out, maybe watching certain areas that we need to watch around the perimeter of wherever we're having that fun time, setting up, clean up, set up, those kind of things that we need to do with the games that we're running in that setting. And then if we do candygrams, if we're doing any kind of thing where students have written out notes to each other and we're passing them, we'll read those during fun time. So with that, we can have more than just the regular ones on the mic. We usually try to get as many on a mic as we can. So it's different voices and we can run quick. And then what you need to do, if you're on the mic, you'll get handed a candygram. You need to read that, get that stuff down as best as you can, ask any questions to the other members that's right beside you. If there's anything on like a word or a name, know what you can on that. Read it kind of fun, have fun with it. You know, if someone's saying, yeah, I think you're the cutest girl at camp, be like, guys, listen to this, get this, we got a hot one here, kind of thing. You know, don't just like read it like you're saying an order over a mic at a fast food restaurant. Like, have fun with it, cut up with it. Don't, you know, you can find a nice balance there. We'll also have someone who is reading those candygrams before they hand them to us. That is to screen them to make sure there's nothing that we really shouldn't read. So if you get directions, and if you're the one doing that, you should be able to gauge what that is, and you can ask the rec director if they think it's cool for us to read that on the mic or not. We're looking at things that's like super bullying, super, you know, sexual or something that's just not appropriate to read at all. Okay, at all. So there's kind of a fine line there, but one's, you know, the difference between, yeah, this is kind of funny, we can make fun of this. This one is like, hey, I'm going to hand this to the person to read on the mic and be like, hey, we're not going to read what's said on here, but this is to Joe from Susie. You know, so Joe, come get your candygram. You can read that to yourself. You know, sometimes that might be a phone number or something like that, even on there. And then the ones that's like, all right, we need to have a chat with the camp director about this because someone's gone a little bit, or going way over the line here. So it's being mindful of those things and just kind of doing that. After fun time, we will have our R&R. That's where we'll eat some food. We'll hang out, debrief about the day, talk about the next day, and then we do a Bible study. And it's very easy that we can have a time of just Bible study, hanging out and talking, hanging out and discussing things, and stay up till 2, 3 in the morning. That's not out of the realm of possibility. It almost happens every single night. You don't necessarily have to hang with us that whole time. If you crash out at 1, because we're done at like 11:30 or something at night with fun time. So, you know, if you crash out an hour into that, it's 1 o'clock or something. That's cool. We understand. But hang for some of that, because it goes back to what we started at this video, that devotion time, realizing what it's all about. It's all about the students, and the students having an encounter with God that transforms their life. And that's why we do what we do, no matter how crazy it looks, no matter all the different elements that we play with this. It's all about what they encounter in those altar services. So glad you're on board. Looking forward to working with you if you're working with me. If you're watching this and you are going to be working with me, yeah, feel free to ask any questions anytime you need to, and have a good time at camp.